Old Dominion's Ricky Rahne shaking up the staff, bringing in a top offensive coordinator, and South Alabama gets their quarterback. It's Locked On Sunbelt.
You are Locked On Sunbelt, your daily podcast on the Sunbelt Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dave Schultz, your host for Locked On Sunbelt. I host afternoons on Sports Radio 105.5 WNSP in Mobile, Alabama, covering the South Alabama Jaguars. And prior to that, covering the Louisiana Raging Cajuns, hosting mornings on 103.7 The Game. Today's episode of Locked On Sunbelt brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnCollege. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnCollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. All right, so we have a little bit of a shakeup on the ODU staff. They're looking for a little bit more offense, and boy, do they need it. They had that one explosion in the middle of the season where they ran for 323 yards against Coastal Carolina, and then I think went 5 games and didn't quite get to that mark total. Old Dominion offensively was last in the Sun Belt in scoring. They scored 19.5 points per game. They were not very explosive, to say the least. Let's look at some other teams. Old Dominion scored 29 touchdowns. James Madison scored 53. App State scored 56. Georgia Southern, 51. South Alabama, Georgia State, Coastal Carolina, 47. Old Dominion scored 29 touchdowns, and for 7 of those against Coastal Carolina, oh goodness, what did I say? 29 touchdowns, 7 of the 29 were in one ball game. No wonder they need to do something to pick up the offense. I'm pretty sure I'm right about that. Let's see here. Old Dominion, they scored 49 against Coastal Carolina. So 7 of their 29 touchdowns came in one ball game. That's 22 touchdowns in 11 games. Even I can do that math. That's 2 touchdowns a game. They scored 49 against Coastal, then 23 against Georgia Southern, 17 against Georgia State, 0 against Marshall, 3 against James Madison, 14 against App State. They actually did a pretty good job in the season finale, had a 20-13 halftime lead against South Alabama, but failed to score in the second half. So outside of one ball game, they were averaging 2 touchdowns a game. That's just not going to get it done. So what does Ricky Rahne do? Let's go get the best offensive coordinator in the FCS and offensive line coach. Same school. Kevin Decker has been hired to be the new Monarchs offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach with Alex Huettel, or Huettel, Huettel, has been tabbed as their new offensive line coach. Both coaches come from Fordham. That's smack dab in New York City, which led FCS in offense 609 yards per game, second best in FCS history, and ranked second in the country with 49 points per game. That's 2.5 times what Old Dominion scores. 2.5 times. ODU's offense ranked 105th out of 131 schools, averaging just under 340 yards per game, 117th in scoring offense. We told you it was 19.5 points a game, 125th in third down conversions, and 130th in average time of possession at just over 25 minutes a game. 130th. That's second to last. So I like the idea of Ricky Rahne. Let's go get somebody who's running a good offense, and let's see if we can install it here at Old Dominion. Couple things, though. They lost some good players in the portal. That's the problem. Blake Watson, their leading rusher, 916 yards, 5 touchdowns. Allie Jennings, the third wide receiver, leading wide receiver, 54 receptions, 959 yards, 9 touchdowns. So you're going to have to find somebody else to pick it up and pick up the slack for Old Dominion. And at the same time, whereas only a couple, there's 2 Marshall players and a couple of maybe one. Let me see what we got here. Oh, James Madison has 2 players in the portal. This is according to On3. Marshall has 2. Peter Zamora, freshman quarterback, decided to go into the portal. I think that was on Tuesday. But Old Dominion, and again, I'll be the first to tell you, I do not know all of these players by no means. But Old Dominion put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players. Allie Jennings already has offers, apparently. He is from Highland Springs, Virginia. He's already got offers from Duke and Virginia Tech. It's basically right now 50-50 if he's going to Duke or Virginia Tech, according to On3. So he's already got his offers or potential offers on where he is going. So I like the idea. Let's go get some offense. Let's score some points. Here's the thing, right? I'm a big believer in this. If you're going to lose, you can't be boring. So play an explosive offense and an attacking defense. And it's much better to lose. I mean, that ball game, what was it, App State and the App State Georgia Southern ball game, no one's going to forget about that ball game. Whoever was there, and I'm sure twice as many people are going to tell you that they were there by the time the history books are written. App State won that ball game 51-48, double overtime. No one's going to forget about it. It was 38-38 at half. Up, down, back and forth. I think I said there was 7 lead changes, 3 ties. That was before overtime. No one's going to forget about that game. No one cares that there wasn't very good defense. No one cares. They care that it was exciting. They care that there was a lot of scoring. They care that it was back and forth. No one wants to see 20-10 ball games anymore. They want to see some scoring, although that does take a little bit more time with commercials and kicking. But that's what they want to see. And so they're going to try and go from, they're averaging 40 more points than they are. Is that no, I can't see. I'm not good at math. 30 more points. Fordham averaged 49.5 points, and ODU averaged 19.5 points. That's a huge difference. Say they just get halfway. Say they just get to 15 more points, right? And all of a sudden, they're averaging close to 35. What a huge difference that would be. James Madison averaged 37. That was top in the conference. App State, just about 35 at 34.9. You don't even have to get all that way. Just get into the high 20s and the low 30s, and you're in good shape. Now they have to replenish and find some new guys to do that, but I trust that they will. ODU is obviously ODU is downtown Norfolk, but you can go recruit at the beach, man. How can you not recruit at ODU? So Ricky Rahne shaking up the staff, bringing in Kevin Decker, Fordham offensive line coach and quarterbacks coach. Now with ODU, Alex Huettel, or Huddle, Huettel, is the new offensive line coach, and they seem to know what they were doing. All right. Meanwhile, we'll come back and we'll talk about South Alabama. Signing day isn't for a couple weeks, but South Alabama ended up getting their quarterback maybe a little bit sooner than expected. Let me tell you a little bit about LinkedIn, because these days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. You want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people for your team faster and for free. It's incredibly easy to add your job and the purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on the candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. That's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. All right, so South Alabama, again, signing day is not until South Alabama actually plays in the New Orleans Bowl, Wednesday, December 21st. So they will have a busy day getting ready for a football game and trying to, now the football game is not until 8 o'clock, so hopefully they'll have all their paperwork. It still used to be a fax machine not that long ago, but I think we're using email these days, or maybe something digital where you are filling something out online. And hopefully all that's done by noon. Usually these things come in. I know, some bigger recruits will do things at the schools and TV, and whether it's 24/7 sports or on 3 or CBS Sports Network, whatever the case is. Mostly we'll see if South Alabama gets all their stuff done mostly before the football game. But they did sign. He signed today, oddly enough, out of James Clemens High School. Gio Lopez signs with South Alabama. He may be on the shorter side, but he is not small. Listed at 6 foot 215. He may be even a little bit bigger than that in terms of weight. He threw for 2,300 yards, 289 yards a ball game, 17 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions, a little bit of a dual threat. Well, not a little bit. He ran 73 times, 316 yards, scored 10 touchdowns. So he passed for 17 touchdowns, and he ran for 10 touchdowns. That's a very different quarterback than what South Alabama has had under Kane Womack, right? Jake Bentley left. I think he left when he finally finished up at South Alabama. I think he was second all-time, well, not all-time, but second active yardage leader in the NCAA at the time. And Carter Bradley, mobile, can run. Wouldn't say he's dual threat, but very athletic. He's got a cannon for an arm. And I think this is a little bit different of a player that South Alabama is getting. James Clemens is in 7A. That's the biggest in Alabama. He's from, it's in Madison, Alabama. It is the James Clemens Jets. So they don't think they had that great a year. Let me see if I can find their numbers. 4-6 overall, although they did go 4-3 in the region. See if I can find their schedule and how far they got. I don't think they got into the playoffs. It does not appear that way because they won their last 2 ball games, beating Albertville 49-7 and Grissom 63-27. They actually finished up pretty strong. Did not start off that well, losing 3 straight and actually 5 of 6 to begin the season. And then the offense just came together. Scored 41 against Sparkman. In a loss against Austin, they scored 33. Scored 49 against Albertville and 63 against Grissom. So they definitely finished up very strong. And so now South Alabama, who does not have all that many commits, a lot of them are local right here in Mobile. Kane Womack has mentioned how important that is for him. It's not all has to be local. Also, they're big on the portal. They only have 6 commits. I wouldn't be surprised if 5 of them are local. Anthony Eager, big-time wide receiver. McGill Tulin, a local. Cole Blaylock, I'm going to say legendary running back, but he kind of is because all he does is score touchdowns. Running back at UMS Wright, local. Willie Anderson, Blunt, local. Trent Thomas, big-time tight end, also plays a little basketball, 6'6", 220. He's got a twin, same size. He's a tight end. He is local. So 4 out of their 5 guys are local. Gio Lopez, listed actually on 24/7, 5'11 and a half, 230 pounds. So he is well put together for the South Alabama Jaguars. Joshua Bledsoe, cornerback, who's pretty nice size as well, coming out of high school. He's coming out of Lafayette, 6'1", 190. And that's all they have. And, we'll see what happens over the next couple of weeks. I'm sure they're going to be looking for guys in the portal. Kane Womack, after the final home game against ODU, mentioned we're still looking for a little bit more depth and explosion on the defensive line to rush the passer. And then they have to replenish some of the positions that are graduating or moving on to different schools. Although I'm not sure too many people, we said on 24 on 3, they didn't have anybody who's had entered the portal since the end of the season. They had some guys who had left the team during the year, mostly because they weren't getting playing time. They got demoted to either second team or below. So South Alabama gets their quarterback, Giovanni Lopez, although I didn't realize you could sign before December 21st. He held a signing ceremony, and so he is signed and sealed for South Alabama. All right, we'll talk a little basketball when we come back because JMU took on in-state rival Virginia, and it was one heck of a ball game as JMU already giving notice with the how good a football team they were, winning the Eastern Division, regardless of what Coastal Carolina wants to say. And so we'll be looking forward to watching JMU basketball as well. But before that, BetOnline.net is your number one source for sports betting info, stats, news, and analysis. Get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there. From football to basketball to soccer and esports, we've got it all at BetOnline.net. And if you love sports podcasts, you can find those at BetOnline as well. We're always the fastest and easiest way to get your betting fix. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right. Basketball-wise, again, we have not done a whole lot of basketball. Admittedly, probably because South Alabama is out of town for a month, which is, again, mind-boggling that that's the case. But Virginia, number 3 Virginia, by the way, 7-0 coming into the ball game, 4-0 at home, taking on James Madison, 7-2 on the season, 2-1 on the road. And you got to appreciate that. You go to Louisiana and LSU will not play the Cajuns. They just won't. They will not play the Cajuns. They won't play them in Baton Rouge, and they will not play them certainly in Lafayette, mostly because LSU can't lose to the Cajuns. You can't do that. You can't lose to the Cajuns. Not at all. Cajuns may be better than LSU this year. All right. LSU is in a total rebuild, new coach. But that doesn't matter if they're, a top 25 team or not. They won't play the Cajuns. So good for Virginia for playing James Madison. James Madison did play North Carolina, gave them a game for a little bit, but lost 80-64 earlier in the year. They lost to Valpo, 81-79. But that's it. They got a nice win over South Dakota State, who gave Alabama all they could handle. And they do have a nice win, a blowout win over Buffalo, who's always a good group of 5 school. And so JMU goes into Charlottesville and was down 7 at half. They actually tied the ball game up 42-42. But then Virginia went on a 9-5. It was 42. It was 42-42. And then it was 51-43. So that's a 9-1 run. It's an 8-point lead. And that was basically all she wrote. They actually had a shot. JMU got it down to 52-50, but Ryan Dunn, big-time layup for Virginia. Maybe a foul could have been called as well on JMU, but that made it 54-50 and under 30 seconds to go or so. And that was all for JMU. But a good job by the Dukes. So now I think the Sun Belt is on notice. I think the Dukes, are they high scoring? Because Virginia's not high scoring. The Dukes scored 123 in their first ball game and 106 in their second ball game against lesser competition. 97 against Buffalo, 95 against Howard. They beat Coastal Georgia, lesser program, with 154. They score a lot of points, but they showed that they can play that slow down, good defense against Virginia. Everybody knows how good a defense Virginia is. JMU only shot 27%. I got a feeling they don't shoot like that very often. But they held Virginia to 42% and 5 of 21 from 3. So they did a good job as well. And it comes down to actually JMU played good free throw defense because Virginia only hit 12 of 24 free throws. This game could have been a little bit wider of a margin. But a good job by James Madison. Let's see who led the way. Molson led the way with 20 points, 6 of 15 shooting, and Morse had 11. They actually out-rebounded Virginia 41-33. They had 13 offensive rebounds to Virginia's 3 offensive rebounds. Remember, South Alabama had a heck of a time trying to stay on the glass with Alabama. I'm not sure if they play each other. Do they play each other this year? Yeah, they do. In fact, JMU comes to Mobile on January 12th. And so that'll be, we'll have to circle that. Careful about trying to rebound against JMU because South Alabama has had their issues with that. But a little bit of notice, JMU had that great football season, and they hung tough with the 8th-ranked Virginia Cavaliers. So that was on Tuesday night because I actually turned on the TV and, JMU is playing Virginia. Let's turn it on. And so a good job by JMU. They could have got blown out of the building twice, to be honest with you. They could have, I think they were down 10 or so in the first half. They were down 10 in the second half, got down 8 with 4 minutes to go, and actually pulled within 2. So, again, I know no one likes moral victories, especially when you have a shot to beat, a really good Virginia basketball team. But if JMU can build on that and play that way, although shoot a little bit better, they're going to be very, very tough in the Sun Belt. All right. Thanks very much for tuning in to another edition of Locked On Sun Belt. I'm your host, Dave Schultz. We'll have another edition. I'm sure there'll be more news in the portal. We'll see if anybody signs. By the time we get to that, it'll be Wednesday for Thursday's episode. Not a whole lot is going on, except people are going in. Not that many are coming out. We'll see when that starts to happen. This is the Locked On Sun Belt, your team every day.